All right, hello everyone. I got to do this a little bit quickly. I've already done this once, but my phone ran out of storage space, which is a little unfortunate. I got a mic. I hope it sounds good. We're going to find out. I think it sounds decent, but I'm just excited to have this. I'll handhold it because I don't want to set up a tripod for it. But I said I had to do this quickly, and I've rambled on for about 30 seconds still, so let's get into it. We had two big pieces of news this week. One was kind of following up and almost the conclusion on the first big roster shuffle part of this offseason, which was the France roster shuffle that we were likely always going to see before Flip and Spin. The second part is about North America. We'll get to the second part later. First part, Team BDS have released everyone. They released Drawley a while back because Carmine Corp have already signed him. That was like 1 or 2 weeks ago now. This week, they released Exotiik, Kassio, and Monkeymoon. There's like a 12-minute video detailing, Monkeymoon's release. I still have to watch that. I've been watching League of Legends instead, but I would recommend going and seeing that because Monkeymoon has been a part of BDS for around 5 years and has basically become the GOAT of the esport while he's been on that organization. So I'm sure that is going to be a great video. As for Team BDS, they're not expected to have a team at the start of 2025. That's a little bit disappointing if you're a fan of the esport. That being said, it doesn't look like they're hoping to exit entirely. I think they're just going to wait and see what roster they want to end up picking up. Not having a team for the start of 2025, though, does shake some things up for this offseason, however. They have withdrawn from the Flip and Spin tournament. They were originally one of the 4 invited teams. They have decided that they're going to decline that invite. And because of that, we're going to see a 5th team from that close qualifier go to the main event for Flip and Spin. Not only that, Team BDS is planning on hosting a LAN on November 23rd. They have like a secondary Twitter account that tweeted this out. It's called Take the Throne LAN. In this LAN, there's going to be 6 invited teams and then 2 teams from Switzerland that play through a qualifier that get in. So it's an 18 tournament in total. Team BDS was one of the invited teams for this, but again, they don't have a roster yet, so I'm not really sure how that's going to work. And the other 2 invited teams for this are Carmine Corp and Vitality, but I'm sure more details about this Take the Throne LAN are going to come out later. We still have several more teams to invite and formats to figure out, etc. So just be on the lookout for that. But that's the end of the BDS story for now, unfortunately. The Team Vitality story is still going strong. They are expected to announce their roster very soon. There's a good chance they've already announced it by the time this video is coming out. Basically, all the pieces are officially released based on statements. BDS have made statements on everyone. Vitality have made statements on everyone, except for Fairy Peak. I didn't have a coach's corner this week. The one coach that could be added to the coach's corner is Fairy Peak. I'm not sure what's going on with him because the Vitality roster is expected to be Monkeymoon, Exotiik, Zen, which we've known for about a week and a half now. Became official this week that it's looking like they're going to have Kassio as a coach. So that does call into question what Fairy Peak's going to do. As for the players from Vitality, the wording that they used was that Alpha 54 has been moved off the active roster. Now, that doesn't mean he's released. That doesn't mean he's free. He's under contract until the end of 2025. Personally, I think that Alpha's best chance of getting bought out of that contract and playing next year was through Team BDS. And the fact that they are not expected to have a team at the start of 2025 is a little worrying for Alpha 54. So at this point, it's probably going to take both parties mutually agreeing, hey, yeah, we'll let you go and let you play. And Alpha just agrees to not get paid for the next year. Vitality agrees to let him go, which could happen, but I don't think it's super likely. Or Alpha 54 gets bought out by a completely different organization that we're not sure where they're going to come from yet. Radosin, however, his contract ended at the end of 2024. Technically, we're not in December yet, but he has been officially released from Vitality. So he will be free to go wherever he needs to this coming 2025 season. But yeah, expect this announcement, if it hasn't already happened, to be very soon. They've got games to play on Tuesday. Dignitas is the 4th invited team to Flip and Spin. Technically, they're now the 3rd invited team because BDS withdrew. But Dignitas being invited is actually a shock. They are a North American-based team. We have known since the start of the offseason that they are planning on rebuilding around Stizzy. But for at least this tournament, Dignitas is planning on running the roster of Stizzy, ApparentlyJack, and Chronic. I think this is brilliant from just about all parties involved. Stizzy has a lot of potential as a player, and teaming up with ApparentlyJack and Chronic could revitalize that duo. They're already solid. I know there's been, a lot of hate considering Gen G's downfall at Worlds, but still a top 2 roster in North America, or the core of the top 2 roster in North America. And picking up someone like Stizzy, if it works, it could be great. Not only that, for Flip and Spin, you get a North American team in there. So anyone who's from NA who wants to root for a North American team to go in there and beat like a bunch of French teams is going to be following this Dignitas roster. Even if it does have 2 native European players, you're still going to be cheering, most likely as a North American fan, for Dignitas. And not only that, you get the ApparentlyJack viewership. He's one of the best content creators in the scene. If he plays, there will be people following what he's doing. And so you'll get that viewership as well. So I think this is great from not only the Flip and Spin tournament organizers, but from Dignitas and all 3 players combined. So excited to see how they do. Spacestation, I feel really bad about this. So this happened last week, and I didn't include it on the board. And especially considering who I'm a fan of, like, this is an embarrassment that I did not include this last week, and I apologize to everyone involved. Spacestation officially released Chicago. That's like officially not going to be on the roster for 2025. I had some theories that he might still team up with Hawkster next year, but looks like those are dispelled. As for the rest of that Spacestation team, Spacestation are looking for a buyout for LJ. I believe he's probably under contract for 2025 based on how Achilles has phrased things during this offseason. I also believe Firstkiller is under contract with Gen G still, and so whichever org comes out and gets them, probably going to have to pay a buyout for both of those players. So looks like Spacestation's still looking for that. And then as for Hawkster, right now it's possible that the organization rebuilds around him. According to an Achilles tweet detailing some of the scrim rumors that were happening in North America, it said SSG with Hawkster and then had 2 duos that had potential. Whether or not Spacestation, the organization itself sticks with Hawkster or not, is still to be determined. I'm sure it's a very long off season. A lot could happen. And yeah, still plenty is up in the air. So right now, I'd say it looks like Spacestation are planning on rolling with Hawkster and then 2 new players for next year. But that could change in the coming few weeks as well. Pioneers released their entire roster. They made 9th through 11th at Worlds with the roster of Amphis, Super Locky, and Fiber. They were 2nd in OCE, just barely squeaked out 2nd place in OCE, to be honest. Cleared Chiefs by 5 points. Maybe it was only 3 points at the end of the season. They barely scraped into Worlds. And then at Worlds, they took down Gen G, which absolutely a statement win. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the players. I'm assuming there's roster shuffles going to happen in OCE. Power dominated that region way too much to just ignore. So I'm expecting there to be roster changes from the players themselves. But Pioneers, the organization, is looking to return in 2025. Not sure with who, not sure where. Lawler made a video where he theorized that since Pioneers are originally a North American organization and a lot of their sponsors are from North America, that they're going to look to return back and pick up a North American team. There's a long discussion about how oversaturated the orgs are in North America, especially compared to other regions. And I think Pioneers had a good solution to get represented on the international stage by having like the 2nd best team in OCE pretty consistently. But yeah, we'll have to see what Pioneers end up doing, but they are looking to return in 2025 and not just exit entirely. So that's good. And then the second big one, NRG are back. They're back and they're ready to go. They are in talks with the LJ and Firstkiller duo. And this could see NRG rise right back to the top of North America. They spent the entirety of the league play era as one of the North American top teams. And I think that has been forgotten since we came back from COVID and the open era has turned into lands because NRG just hasn't been a contender. Like, this was a top dog. This was, while they kind of had a curse of not being able to actually win anything, this team came into tournaments multiple times with the expectation that they could win it all. And if they pick up LJ Firstkiller, they're going right back to that. As for the rest of NRG, Aqua and Mist have already been released. Mist was released right after the end of the season. Aqua was released a week ago. GarrettG and Fireburner, their futures are both uncertain. At this point, I'd be shocked to see either of them on the organization next year. I don't think that LJ and Firstkiller are going to choose GarrettG as their new third, and I do believe the decision is going to be up to LJ and Firstkiller entirely. Maybe there's some influence on NRG, but I don't think NRG is going to force it. And then Fireburner, I don't believe is going to be the coach that they go with. I think both LJ and Firstkiller have shown that they have preferences in coaches that they like to work with, and I believe it's going to be one of them. So I'll talk more about that on Tuesday, because on Tuesday I am planning on doing that magnet whiteboard for North American roster shuffle. I've got a lot better of a picture now that we know this news of LJ and Firstkiller to NRG, that I can start moving some pieces around and theorizing what we might end up seeing as we head into next season. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be a fun one. And yeah, that's actually it for this week. Sorry if I went pretty quickly. I recorded this once and ran out of space on my phone. I might have mentioned that at the start of the video, and if I did, I apologize. But yeah, that's this week, and I will see you guys in future videos.